Hello, everyone. Don Cramer at Urban Nest Realty in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are here for the Tuesday edition of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. My partner, Colleen Schaefer, is on assignment. She's doing that real estate thing today. She sends her best. She will be joining us here soon. We've got some information coming up later in the week and next week, so she'll be back with us virtually. But I'm excited about today's episode because joining us today is Tom Tezak. Now, Tom has the job I really want. So, Tom is a realtor with real estate, lifestyle Maui real estate in Maui, Hawaii, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. He also has the Selling the Dream podcast. It's about second home resort living, and so Tom is the man, the 411 to go to about getting to that dream home place. So I've asked Tom to join us today on a Tuesday. He's up before the coconuts there on Maui to join us early this morning while we're here on the west side already in our second cup of coffee, just to kind of talk about what's going on in Maui with regards to real estate, a little bit about COVID. We're going to touch a little bit about that, how the market's doing. And then to kind of dive into, the kind of people that are looking to buy there, looking to sell, and about how he's working with people to achieve their dream about getting that place in Maui. Tom, thanks for joining in.
You bet. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. And just down to be clear and compliant, my team is Lifestyle Maui team, but my company is Wailea Realty Windermere Real Estate. Just so we like compliance, right?
Absolutely. It is about compliance. And in case I didn't say it as well, again, we're with the Cramer Group with Urban Nest Realty. We always got to give shout outs and a lot of love to our brokerages. But Tom,
that's correct.
Tom, so what are you drinking today? What kind of breakfast beverage are you starting with?
So I like just good old coffee with a little bit of coconut milk in it, and that's my go-to.
Fantastic.
Well, pretty simple. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So how are things down in Maui?
Maui is a little bit slow. As you are aware, we are an island paradise, and with that, it requires people to fly in, and it's a bit tough to get here right now. So that is one of the challenges we're experiencing. With COVID-19, people are just reluctant to get on a plane. The state, in an effort to protect our citizens, has put a 14-day mandatory quarantine on all arriving people, guests or residents, and it's a self-quarantine that they're monitoring. So right now, it's a little bit of a challenge to get here, but our market is still hopping along. I just checked my system, and we had 27 new listings today, which is up from the last week, which we were seeing 14 and 15.
Is that a whole island?
That's just in. So I work predominantly in South Maui, which would be Wailea, Kihei, Makena. I do service the whole island, but my focus where I'm getting my numbers is in the south side of the island.
Okay, so you're starting from Kihei all the way down to Makena.
Correct.
Okay, great. Awesome.
So we're seeing, but I have seen in the last 40 days through all of this, I've been monitoring it in 10-day chunks, and we went for the first 10 days of April, 0 transactions, which is unheard of in our world. By the end of the month, we were up to 23 in a 10-day period. So in a 10-day period.
So when you guys started going into the state, everything sort of kind of came to a halt, and then the last couple of weeks, things have started to move again.
Absolutely. I think people are we have folks out there that are calling. I have clients that are calling me saying, Tom, all the things that are going on, I'm a little bit, I think it's terrible, but I think there might be opportunities for me to buy that property that I've been thinking about. And so that's what's happening. There are definitely people that are following our MLS, looking at opportunities. We like to say at this point, going fishing for a deal, because there are people out there, and not to be cynical, but there are people out there that have their properties on the market because they need to sell them, and they need to sell them right now.
Right.
So I tell my clients, don't feel like you're bad that you are actually making somebody happy, even though you're coming in with a crummy offer, because they really need to sell. That's just the reality.
Yes.
Reality isn't always beautiful, but so yes, there's still business happening.
Yeah, and like you said,
Remotely.
it's about meeting goals, right?
Exactly. And we have all the tools in place. We are active with StreamYard. We're active with Zoom. We do FaceTime. We are able to go and show properties. We have virtual tours on all of our properties. We do live walkthroughs. So it's still doable. And interestingly enough, Don, we have been selling real estate remotely for 20 years. This
Yeah,
is not.
this is nothing new to you, really.
No,
This is old hat.
it's something. Yeah, we've always been doing this. So I say it was our second choice. Now it's become our first choice.
Yep.
Every year I sell 3 or 4 properties up until this point using my camera, using my video, using my live stream, whatever the technology that the client wants to use and is most comfortable with. We're good to go. And so every year we sell multiple properties sight unseen, as we call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Tom, how would you sort of say is your client base local, and then new clients coming in from the mainland?
So I would think my client base coming in from the mainland is probably 70% of my clients live somewhere else.
Okay.
Whether they're sellers, whether they're buyers. So the vast majority of my database is on the mainland U.S., on the mainland Canada.
Okay.
So that's there's very few other locations that folks are coming from.
Got it. No, absolutely. So with that in mind, your systems have to be in place to provide that seamless digital experience to the vast majority of your client base, whether they're buying, selling, moving up, moving down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been, our escrow officers, our escrow companies are used to doing everything remotely, mostly through digital signatures. Now, we do still require wet signatures for the notary for the certain recording documents. So, unfortunately, we haven't gone totally digital in the state of Hawaii, but for the most part, almost everything is digital, and they'll require a mobile notary to come out and get, I think it's two signatures on documents for closings now.
Got it. And so you're pretty much most of the way there with regards to the transaction process being sort of e-sign, similar to what we have going on in Nevada. Now, Tom, how's I know you're working on sort of Kihei down to McKenna. It's been years since I've been there. How is that?
That's
area?
A shame.
I know. It's like 10 years too many.
So just let's give everybody a little bit of an overview, I think, of, as we're talking about resort second homes, there's basically 2 markets that appeal to the resort second home buyer in Hawaii. There's what we call the south side, and then the west side.
Okay.
So the south side is what I'm talking about, Kihei, Wailea, McKenna.
Yep.
The west side would be Lahaina, Ka'anapali, Kapalua, Kahana, all of those cities that go up the western side of the island. And they're both super beautiful beach communities. They're both Pacific Island deserts. So that what that means is 340 days of sunshine a year, minimal rain. So the island is sort of, we as agents, and we look at it as 2 different parts. I work both sides of the island with my team, but I focus on the south side. So what's happening in South Maui? Kihei is the old quintessential beach town. Road that rides down. There's, 10 beaches on the right side of the road. There's a handful of oceanfront complexes, and then on the left side on the mountain side, or Mauka side as we call it, there's a bunch more real estate complexes or condominium complexes.
Okay.
Then you get into Wailea, which is all Kihei. We have no city governments. We only have county. So Wailea is just a resort district, part of Kihei, all the same zip code as is McKenna. So we get into Wailea, and that was a planned unit development where you leave Kihei and you pull into these boulevards and these beautiful trees, and everything is green and everything is watered, been bought and paid for. So you get that kind of environment. So the price goes up, the values go up. An oceanfront property in Kihei is for a nice 2-bedroom, 800, 900 square feet. It's going to be about $1.2 million, $1.3 million, $1.4 million.
And that's a condo? Or is that
that's a condo.
Okay.
That's a condo. And in Wailea, that same oceanfront front row is going to be $3 or $4 million. So
you're going up a factor of 4x.
Thereabouts, yes.
Moving into the master plan itself.
Yes.
And Wailea started sort of, I want to say mid-'80s, is that right, with the golf courses and as a master community?
It started in the late 70s.
Late
I
70s.
think the first built was in 78, 79.
Okay.
And then you drive.
Development going on there.
There's still new development. Yeah, there's a brand new development right now that's just being released about a week ago. They came out right in the midst of all of the crazy, so it's been a little bit interesting. But yeah, it's called Lailoa. It's in a new company, a Canadian company, bought the vacant land from Alexander Baldwin, who had originally They started Wailea. They sold it to a Japanese entity. The Japanese entity, this was over the course of 30, 40, 50 years now.
Yep.
Japanese company bought it, developed a little bit of it, had some financial problems. A&B bought it back for a while, and then they just recently sold it all again to Ledcor out of Canada, and now they're just starting the process of developing. And so they're just putting together a new condominium development called Lailoa. So
Lailoa. Interesting.
Lailoa. And so that's new. And then we also have McKenna, which there's a new super high-end luxury development going in over there. And that's McKenna Beach and Golf Resort. And those start at, $5 million, somewhere around there.
Is that the Discovery Land project?
Exactly, the Discovery Land project.
Yeah, we have a similar project here in our Summerlin community master plan called the Summit. So there may be a potential for people there looking at here, or vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is that new Discovery Land project, is that encapsulating any of the original McKenna Resort?
They bought the whole McKenna Resort.
So they bought the golf courses, the property.
The hotel, they tore the hotel down, and that's where they're building the new properties is there. And then the surrounding land that's inside of the golf course, they're developing all of that as single-family lots.
Okay. Wonderful. And then, down in Wailea, you've got you've got the Four Seasons, you've got the Grand Wailea. You just have these outstanding resorts. Yeah.
One resort is just nicer than the next one. Then people say, I like this one, I like that one, and they're all really, really beautiful. So
yeah,
they're definitely
places. It's like you're choosing from the top. How bad can it be?
Right.
So you talked about Tom, the Maui being a bit of a kind of an island desert a little bit because you have a lot of sunshine. However, though, if we move a little further up the hill, you do have all these wonderful microclimates.
You know the words, yes. We have 13 microclimates to be exact from what I've been told. And it's really neat that where I live personally, and if I pull out, I live in central Kihei up inside of a golf course. But when I pull out to the highway, if I look to the right, I can see there's the mountain is West Maui, but in that is Iao Valley.
Right.
Iao Valley is one of the wettest places in the world with over 300 inches of rain a year. But where I'm sitting on the road is one of the driest places in the world with about 14 or 15 inches of rain. So for me, it's just fascinating that I can be standing in one spot in the driest place in the world looking at one of the wettest places in the world. There's just not very many spots that you can do that. And then if I look up the hill, I can look up to the top of Haleakala, which is a 10,000-foot mountain. And there, every couple of years, we have snow. So it's the diversity is just magnificent. We go up the hill to what we call up country, which would be Kula, Pukalani, Makawao. Makawao is our cowboy town. Pukalani is Hawaiian. It's a Hawaiian name, and Puka means whole, as in puka shells.
Right.
And Lani means sky. So it's hole in the sky. And because of the wind flow and the patterns, Pukalani is sunny all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so it's Pukalani is hole in the sky. So I just love the Hawaiian, the way they name some of these locations. But up there, it's sort of more, the prices are similar, but you get more land. So there's very few condominiums. It's mostly homes. In Kihei, for example, if you buy a house, you're going to get a 8,000 square foot lot.
Right.
You go up to Kula, and now you're getting 20,000 square foot lots, acreage. So for the same kind of price points. So
wow.
That's the difference.
And your view is still not bad.
Oh my God, the views, and there are some people that say I like the up mountain views better because it's so much more expansive.
Right.
And we have bicoastal views. We'll have bicoastal with West Maui views. It's really amazing. And some people say, well, I want sunsets or I want sunrises. So depending on where you go on the mountain, it just depends on what you're after and what's available. So.
Awesome. It's like you said too. I mean, you've got all these. So if you want a little more, I wouldn't say wet weather, but a little more kind of like, okay, I came from a place that had maybe more greenscape, moving a little bit up country kind of dials it in.
Yes, and I can take you to a virtual. Oh, I'm sorry, I can take you to a virtual rainforest, not a virtual, a real rainforest as well. You go to Haiku and around the mountain towards Hana, and you'll never have to sprinkle your yard because nature does it for you.
Nature does. Speaking of Hana, we always talked about, it was the day trip, the road to Hana. It was, in some cases, it always sounded like a challenge. What is going on the east side of Maui?
Today, right now, they have, during COVID, they have put roadblocks in place to protect the Hana community from not invasion, but all the tourism going in. Now, there's just not a lot going on.
Right.
And there's not a lot of tourists here. But so they put roadblocks only if you have if you're a resident in Hana, can you go through?
Okay.
And I think they're going to start loosening that stuff up. The government is saying, hey, it's time for our local community to get back in business.
Yep.
But that being said, the road to Hana is absolutely gorgeous. It's just a windy 2-lane road. Some places it's 1 lane. And it's just one of the most beautiful journeys. It's really all about the journey, not the destination. Hana itself is a very small little sleepy town that is just beautiful. There's just not a whole lot to do there. I love I think it's the Travasa A Hotel is what it was called. They might have sold.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful spot, and there's tons of bed and breakfasts out there. So I always encourage people, if they say, hey, I want to go to Hana, I like to tell them, come here, stay in your hotel, wherever it is on the south side, west side. And then in the middle of your trip, take 2 days or 3 days and book a place in Hana and check out of your hotel, go to Hana, take the drive, go horseback riding, go enjoy the local, the Thai food under the tent, there's some beautiful beaches there, and then pack it up and then drive back. And maybe, I tell people stay on the west side, go to Hana, and then stay on the south side. And then that way you can get a great experience in 2 weeks and enjoy the whole island and then decide, wow, I love it here, I love it there, or I love it everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, that's the beauty of Maui it's a mix of convenience with variety.
Yeah, it's definitely I also like to say it's the Goldilocks Island.
Exactly. I would.
It's not too big. It's not too small. I love Kauai. If my wife and I go on what we call a staycation, and we go in the state, we love to go to Kauai. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, but it's a pretty sleepy community. I mean,
yep.
and that's great for some people. We also go to Oahu, which is, the hustle and bustle of big city. But for us, we're really pretty laid back. So we like that for 2 or 3 days, and it's like, okay, we need to get out of there. We go to Kauai for 2 or 3 days, and it's like, okay, we're bored. So Maui is really, it's got all the beauty, but yet it's got enough activity to keep us happy. We raised our family here. We moved here with a 6-year-old and a 3-month-old. So, people said I could never do that. It's like, yeah, you just choose not to, you can. I mean, I did it with two tiny kids in tow, and we've just enjoyed it immensely.
Fantastic. And Tom, I originally was born and raised on Oahu, moved to Vegas in '88, and I know what you mean by Oahu. You've got some remote areas, but the between the highway system, Honolulu. I mean, Honolulu is a big metropolitan city like anything you'd see on the mainland. And coming over to Maui, like you said, it's this Goldilocks effect. You get in, you've got convenience, you have facilities, you have amenities, but you have an environment where it's like, okay, we're just going to take it down a gear.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I've come to like that. Before I moved here, I lived right outside of Chicago.
Okay.
In a town called Joliet. And, it was all the highway traffic, all the hustle and bustle. And it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But this has just been such a dream to be able to be here. And, a lot of my clients are just second homing here, and they're just popping in and popping out.
Right.
Which is great. We actually started with thinking we were going to buy a second home.
Okay.
A condo. And then after a little bit of searching, it was like, screw this. Let's just go. Let's just move. Let's just sell it all. And we did. We just packed it all up and moved to Maui. So
did that when you made that jump? Is that when you got into real estate, or was there a little transition time in between?
No. So I was a realtor in Joliet for 10 years and had that, work in a purely traditional residential market.
Yep.
I was in 10 years. My career was great, but people saying, "Oh my gosh, you're like killing it here. You're one of the top agents, and you're just going to chuck it all and leave." It's like, yeah, heck yeah. Like, life is good. What the heck? I did it once. I can do it again, and that's been my attitude all my life. I've had multiple businesses in my career, and it's just been amazing. I would never turn back. Never even look back. So
that's fantastic. So. To go from Joliet, Illinois, well, just we're talking the Midwest of the the middle of the Midwest.
Yes.
To Maui, and reboot. I mean, good for you, and good on for your family. I mean, just the experiences and such. And so, when you're talking to people, because you do this, I mean, you are selling the dream, or not just really selling the dream. I mean, the dreams are the pictures have already been painted. You're just sort of helping people kind of get to opening their eyes and visualizing it.
It's so true. We're just the guides, right? I'm not the hero. I'm the guide. People come to me and say, I want to be there. I want a place there. I want a place there for my kids.
Yep.
I want to buy something and rent it out. I want to buy something and I never want anybody sleeping in my bed. I want a house, I want a condo. We have all of the choices. And so my goal is to just help. First, I want to understand what my clients are looking for. And sometimes we think we want something because it's the way we know the world where we currently live.
Right.
And we don't really know what exists somewhere else. So if I was coming to Vegas, I might say, well, I want a house, but I don't want a pool. And you say, hey, Tom, if you buy a house here, you got to have a pool because if you're going to be here in the city, whatever those things are.
Sure, absolutely.
So knowing those, and so I always like to ask clients especially when they're, one of the things the conversation I have that everybody always opens their eyes and goes, is they say, I want to buy a condo. It's like, great. Okay, I want a 2-bedroom condo. It's like, okay, why? It's like, well, I want to rent it out. And I think a 2-bedroom will rent better. And it's like, you're wrong. A 1-bedroom condo rents better in Hawaii because everybody's got to fly here. And they don't pay for the kids and the kids' friends and the kids, it's not like in the mainland where you pack up the Suburban and you go to Steamboat and you got a 5-bedroom house and it doesn't happen that way. It's mom and dad are going on a trip and you're staying home with grandma.
Right.
And so we have a lot more independent couples that travel. So when I say that, it's like, so do you want a 2-bedroom because it'll rent better, or do you want a 2-bedroom because you need 2 bedrooms? Now, if you need 2 bedrooms because you've got a boy and a girl and little kids and they're going to be with you for a long time, then by all means, buy the 2-bedroom. But if you're buying it because you want to think it'll rent better, reconsider that. And then if they do, they can usually get for the same amount of money, a nicer location, a better view, or something like that. So I try to educate people. And my favorite line is, well, I like to travel and bring my friends. And I raised my hand and said, can I be your friend? If you're going to pay for my vacation, I would love to be your friend.
Right.
And that's when people go, huh. I said, tell your friends you're staying in a place and they can rent a unit right next door to you, because they're rentals if that's what you're buying, and they can always rent an adjacent unit. Or you can get to be friends with the other people that are owners, and you can unit swap and trade out. So there's alternatives to that. And even if you want to pay for them, you can still even pay for their room and save more money or get a better location than if you bought that 2-bedroom condo. So again, that's a conversation that I have that people fail to think about that all the way through it.
Right, exactly, because you're kind of like they used to use in the Spies. Our man in Havana, you're our man in Maui. You're on the pulse as to, okay, well, this is if this is the process you want to go through, or the life or way you envision it working. You're the person with the experience, and now, okay, well, here's some ideas or here's some suggestions for you to get there to make the right purchase necessary.
Exactly. And it's just a function of what's important for people, and as well, if you go on to one of the national portals to search real estate, we have condos, and people say, well, I want to buy a condo to do rentals, or I want to buy a house and do rentals. Well, we've had relatively restrictive laws. So only certain condos can be rented. Single-family homes can't be rented. So there's a lot of conversations that, with the advent of Airbnb and VRBO, that I like to have with my clients, because this, you can't just go and buy a house and rent it out short-term.
Right.
You can. So, and that's knowing what the difference is important, and working with an agent that understands all of the idiosyncrasies of the zoning and everything is important for our clients.
Tom, when you're looking with people, let's kind of look at it from a standpoint of somebody saying, okay, Tom, we want to get a place, and when we're not here, we'd like to rent it out. Would our expectations, would we be looking at expectations of saying, okay, well, this is going to maybe offset some of our costs? I mean, is cost offset, how big a factor is that? Or is it more, return on investment? How do you have that conversation with people?
Great question, Don. So if it's all about cash flow,
yep,
buy a property in Detroit.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, in a metro city where you can buy something inexpensive and rent it for a lot. If
Right.
It's all about cash flow, Maui is not a cash flow driven market.
Yes.
I like to tell my clients, your rental property will subsidize the cost of ownership. And over the period of 15 or 30 years, somebody will pay the vast majority of your mortgage if you do a good job renting it. Now, there are some people that do make a return on their investment, be it 1%, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people are killing it. I just don't want to promise somebody that they're going to buy an investment property and have a great cash flow on it, because I think they buy these properties as part of that mentality. I recommend buy it as part of your portfolio. It's part of your portfolio that might take a little bit of a loss on the financial column. But, when you're looking at investment properties, I want them to take their beach chair and their umbrella and go sit out in front of their 10 or 20 unit in an urban environment. It's just not as much fun.
Right.
So it's a choice, right? And it's a lifestyle. And so, I look at mine as investing in your life, investing in your lifestyle, and having some great offsets as part of it, and create a great part of your portfolio as far as real estate investment goes. So I think that was a very long answer to a question of, does our property's cash flow? But
it's a great great answer. I appreciate that. And like you said, I mean, if you're looking on ROI, there's many other places to maximize ROI. But like you said, you're selling the dream, but you have some opportunities to balance or help maximize your dream or help achieve your dream.
Right. And, and we have a pretty, there's a lot of price fluctuation in our market. So I know people who've made just an unconscious amount of money by buying real estate at when the markets are a little softer.
Yep.
And the market moves. And, you've experienced that in Vegas as well.
Yes, absolutely.
We see that more and more now after 2006, 7, and 8. The markets are all over the place in the volatility. Mm-hmm. But it's just, but I don't even want, I'm hesitant from my recommendation to clients to buy low and sell high, because our product here, our environment, it's not about investment. It's about enjoying the days of your life. And I think coming out of COVID right now, I have more people calling me saying, crud, I've realized I've been working and I'm missing opportunity. I could be, I used to be a deputy coroner for 7 years. So okay. I have a very dynamic range of experiences. It's like, I could be dead. It's like, yes, you could.
Absolutely.
Yes,
no
you could.
About it.
We are all going to die. It's just a matter of when. But what's coming to people's minds is, you know what? I need to start living a little bit more and taking some of that money and using it for what I want, not just continuing to pack it away, because there is no guarantee. So, my slogan when I started was "Life is precious, make it count," and that came from the fact that I moved here as prior to being here and in the Chicago area. I was, as I said, a deputy coroner for 7 years, and I saw things that most people have never seen. And I have a perspective that's much different than a lot of people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No question. And we've been hearing about people, especially in New York, these densely populated cities, they're thinking about either migrating home or migrating to some place that said, migrate to Maui.
Absolutely.
So are you seeing some people maybe more East Coast kind of thinking about that, saying, okay, I need some social separation?
I think that, I think people in urban environments are looking at where can I go telecommute, the advent of, Zoom and Skype and meetings and all of these technology platforms were all there before COVID-19. They all existed.
Yes.
It's just now everybody has been forced to use them. And what has happened is there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, this is pretty nice. I just had to put my shirt on. I didn't have to put any pants on. Yeah. And I can work from anywhere. And I think that ability for people to telecommute, to meet, to engage has become so much easier because they've been forced to embrace it.
Yes.
That now they're sitting in their super urban, very confined environment thinking, I can do almost everything I do from my house in a place where I want to be, and I want to, I work until here. If you're in Hawaii, you work until about, depending on where your market is, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the business world is done. Yep. And so you can really enjoy all your life and enjoy the outdoors and still be in telecommuting. So it's a whole new adventure. And yes, I think I have talked to several people who are now saying, no, I'm reconsidering. I think I may want to, instead of just buying a condo to rent out and part-time, I may spend more time in Maui. So I need a bigger place, or I need this, or I need that.
Yeah, so you're seeing a drive probably for more features or more components to the living space. Let's say maybe a dedicated home office.
Yes, home office, garage, those kind of things where you've got place for 2 cars, not just one. Most people, they'll come here and they'll have 1 car, which is fine because they're on vacation or they're here for a limit. Now all of a sudden people are coming here as a couple or as a family, and they're working and living. They need 2 cars. So there's all these, and there are all different properties that offer a lot of choices. Mm-hmm. And so I think too, Don, if you look at the East Coast, they might be looking at, the Florida markets. They might be looking at the markets. They might, but they're coming here too. It's just where you're familiar with, what you're comfortable with. I think Maui is the best place in the world unequivocally. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But not everybody agrees with me. But there are lots of choices.
Well, Tom, I'm in your camp because okay, I don't need to deal with alligators. I don't need to deal with hurricanes. And the last time I checked, if I did put a pool in my backyard, I wouldn't need a 2-story screen enclosure. No offense
No,
to our friends and families over there in Florida, but
you are correct. We are pretty safe. We have no snakes. We have very few predators for people. Now, we do have sharks.
you have
Uh,
sharks.
but they do too. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
they being Florida.
So, Tom, one of the things, when I was last there, and like I said, it's long overdue. I did, I was enjoyed. We did a little day boat over to Lanai, and
Yes.
and you've got the two beautiful resorts. It's now owned by Larry Ellison because he's has a few dollars. Anything going on in Lanai right now?
You know what? I think they haven't had. It's a slow. It's a Lanai is a very unique place.
Yep.
It's a very small place. They have the two Four Seasons resorts there. Um, yeah, I don't go there that much. It's just way too slow for me. I've been there a couple times. It is beautiful. I've
Yep.
boated over there the times I've gone, and I do encourage if somebody is coming to Maui and they want to do an amazing boat trip. The Four Winds has a sail and beach day. They sail over, spend the day, and come back.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the way I like to go to Lanai. Pardon?
Nice. Awesome.
It's really beautiful. So, but not a whole lot going on there. They do have real estate for sale over there. It is a slow market. If I would tell somebody if you're going to buy real estate on Lanai, just consider it as a legacy property because they're really hard to sell.
Okay. I love how you use that term, legacy property.
Yes.
I'm going to, for the hard to sell, I'm going to say that, to use that, incorporate
Well,
that.
and again, some people just want to be there, and in our client base, there are some clients. Money is relative, right?
Yes.
Some clients have all the money they need and they just want what they want. And it's a function of lifestyle and demand and desire. Some people have to make financial or their real estate purchases based on affordability and those things. We can do that. It's just, again, it's all back to that initial interview. Is this, I'm asking people, is it a money thing or is it a lifestyle thing? And it's always both, but it weighs to one side of the scale or the other.
No question. And when you say you're talking about the initial interview, what's sort of the time period on average do you work with people from, sort of, okay, hey, let's set up that first Zoom or Skype call to meet and greet, to where, okay, now we're starting to consider some properties or make a move on one and then closing. How typically long is that with your clientele?
So I call that the gestation period.
Yeah.
And we are not like a standard process. So I have had clients who have called me up and said, I want to buy something. And we have that conversation and we are in escrow in a week.
Okay.
And I have had clients that I've met them. We went and looked at real estate and 12 years later, we bought them something. So it's just because it's a function of comfort. And that particular client who bought 12 years later bought the property sight unseen for $4 million.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
And it was that was a little scary for me because it was a dump as well. People are sitting there thinking a $4 million dump. Yeah, it's now about an $8 million beautiful place because what I learned in part of the interview process the second time I met with them is that this particular person was looking at $600,000 properties. He went home, got busy with work, worked his way through the company, became the CEO, called me up and said, life has gotten better. This is what I want. And we were trying to buy something. And then all of a sudden, as part of the conversation he goes, I love to renovate. It's like, oh my gosh, then we shouldn't be buying this.
Right.
We should be buying this because it's the best location in the complex. And so that's what happened. But it took 12 years to get to the finish line. So I don't have any expectations when I meet with somebody. Very often they'll say, hey, I'm 2 years out. I'm 3 years out. I'm 2 weeks out. It doesn't matter to me. I have this huge group of clients that we just continue to just feed information to. I tell them, look, we're going to interview. I'm going to get you into my automatic system, and I'm not going to call you and bug you. You're just going to continue. When you're ready to go, then you're going to call me, and we're going to start the process, and I'll dive in and find out what you're looking for and what's available at that time.
And that's a great way to put it. One of the things mutually Tom and I have in common is, we belong to a group, an organization of, as you like to call them, and everyone, just rock star agents. And it's about the experience and the journey. And for us, and that's what I love about you, Tom, is it could be 12 years, but that's okay. You're here to answer questions. The journey may take all shapes and forms because you're helping people achieve what you want in life. It's not just, okay, here's a house. Do you want to buy it?
Yeah. And I think that speaks to agents that, I'm not in this for the one big sale. I'm in this for the long haul, and my life is pretty amazing. People just keep calling because I've met so many people. I've been fair and honest and just tried to give them best service, and my phone continues to ring. And I mean, now I'm out here during all of this, and I've gotten, in the last 10 days or 2 weeks, I've gotten multiple calls from people. It's like, holy smokes, I haven't talked to them in 3 years, or, oh my gosh, who is this? And they're talking to me like I know them because we've had that conversation. And I'm pretty transparent. It's like, man, when did we talk, or what was it about? But I still have all that knowledge. And I think that for me, being that the Sherpa or the guide is, my goal is just to help you get to where you want to go, and whatever that might be. And sometimes say, I wouldn't recommend going that way, even though it looks attractive. There's a downfall to it, and I'm going to put it out there and say it's up to you. But this is what I've seen and what I've experienced through my clients and through my experience here.
Absolutely, no question. And Tom, tell me about, because it's you've got a team, which is the Lifestyle Maui Real Estate team.
Correct.
So it's you, and who else is part of the group?
So I'm a broker owner. I own Wailea Realty, Windermere Real Estate, but we have about 55 agents in our company. But then I have a small team, and I keep it really small out of respect for my other agents. Mm-hmm. And so there's myself and Jordan Kamakau. He's my team member. He was born and raised in Maui. He knows the island incredibly well. So a lot of times when I have clients come in and say, I want to buy on the west side, or I want to buy upcountry, or I do a lot of upcountry, but I'll hand those clients off to Jordan, because he actually knows the island way better than I. He's been with me for 8 years in some capacity. Okay. He's just an amazing agent, and he lives and dies by my mantra of, we do the right thing for the client first and foremost. If you're making decisions based on you as an agent making money, you're not welcome on my team. If your first choice has to be, what's best thing for my client? And if I make money at it, great. If I don't, that's okay. I need to take care of my client first. So anyway, he is amazing at that, because he'll call me up and he'll give me a scenario, and he'll know the answer. He goes, we probably should do this, right? Because that's what's best for the client. So, absolutely. So that there's Jordan, and he does a great job. He's one of the top, although he's on my team, he's still one of the top selling agents in the company. Okay. So really great. And then I have Angela, who is my team coordinator, and she's licensed as well. So she will do a teeny bit of real estate, but more so she's the person who handles what I hate, and that's the paperwork. Angela is coordinating showings, coordinating scheduling, coordinating all the process. Once we go into escrow, once we start showings, she is putting all of those packages together and making sure that when we go under contract, you're getting to the closing with it, with as few hiccups as possible. And then I have Kenny, he's on my team, but he's an independent contractor, and he's my marketing guy. Sure. And so he creates all of our video, like our restaurant videos, and we do a lot of different diverse things. And he's just sort of the all-around creative. So I'll say, hey, Kenny, I need a postcard. Boom, he does it. Hey, Kenny, I need a video. He'll come to me and say, hey, I got an idea. Let's do a parody on a song. And so we just did Stand By Me or Lean On Me or whatever that popular song. That was awesome. And we had so much fun doing it now. And he's so creative. He allowed me to be in it, but you couldn't hear my voice, but it's pretended to be. So, and then we have Kenny, and then I have a gal, Lisa, who works for my company, and she part-times with us because of the way we've got it set up as our social media coordinator. So she helps to push stuff out into the networks, and that's pretty much it. Pretty small, pretty tight. We call it from the Tom Ferry Network, a SEAL team.
Yeah, I love that.
Everybody can do everything. So if Jordan lists, Jordan sells, Jordan can run our Facebook Lives. Angela can list, Angela can sell. So anybody has. What I love about that is, if I'm not here or if I'm not available, somebody else can answer the phone and answer a question and give great information based on the overarching attitude and mantra that we have as a team. And so that, for me, really helps our clients get the best service. Now, there's still times where it's like, geez, I don't know the answer to that. And we have to defer. Like if somebody's asking me a question about condos, mid-range price condos on the west side, I'm picking up the phone, calling Jordan and say, hey, Jordan, I need your help. So it's not like I don't know everything and I don't purport to. And if Jordan needs information about oceanfront property, he's calling me and saying, hey, what about this? So I love the way the dynamics of our team work.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to have, like you said, you have a SEAL team, special forces, a small, tight-knit group of people that can interchange, but also come with their leading skill sets to build the experience for your clients.
Exactly.
Well, Tom, this has been awesome. I appreciate it very much. So if I need to, I can call you, or you can reach out to Jordan and say, okay, I need my place to be within walking distance of the best selection of pokey.
Yes, I can find that for you.
We can find that
because in fact, if you go to our Lifestyle Maui YouTube channel, we did a Taste of Paradise on poke. So we know the best poke locations.
Fantastic. And I've seen that video.
I'm glad.
I've seen that video. And so, Tom, is there anything we didn't touch base on you'd like to give a shout out to people tuning in today?
You know what? I just say that if you're sitting out there and you're reassessing everything and you're thinking, boy, maybe I need to enjoy a little bit more of my life as opposed to working all the time as you reflect on COVID-19, reach out to Don. And it might not be Maui. Maui is an island. It scares some people. There are so many amazing places. I've networked with hundreds and hundreds of agents in resort communities all over the world.
Absolutely.
And the beautiful part about Don is Don knows so many of them, whether it's Maui, whether it's Kauai, whether it's ski resorts. There's a lot of choices, and finding the right agent, I think, is so important. I will tell you that Don knows a lot of amazing agents, so he can help you anywhere.
Well, Tom, thank you. And like you said, we're part of a group of rockstar agents too. And then, Tom, I gotta give shouts, props to you too for leaning in and creating the second home resort market mastermind group that we're fortunate to be a part of, so we can build that network out. And Tom, as they say, Las Vegas is the ninth island, and we have people that have moved over and some from Hawaii, from the islands, and may reach a point in time in life that they want to move back. I mean, as I mentioned myself, my first part of my life was born and raised on Oahu, and now hopefully, as we talked about some agents, if I could sell enough real estate at a high price point, I'll be calling you for that. See what's available over there in Kapalua. But
that's it.
We're a little ways off at the moment.
There's a house on the plantation course that has your name on it, Don.
Fantastic. That's just. I just want a view of the city and a refrigerator big enough just to stock it full of pina coladas.
There you go. It's not a bad dream.
Exactly. Well, Tom, this has been awesome. Appreciate you joining in. I know it's early morning. Thanks for tuning in to today's Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. Colleen did send her best. I told her who was on today, and she's like, shoot, what? I said, well, you get to go do real estate. I get to daydream with Tom and think about Maui real estate. So
I love it.
Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in today to today's Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. I'm Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. If you want some more information, you want to catch up with Tom Tezak, you can reach him at tomtezak.com. Also, check out the Facebook page at Selling the Dream Podcast. And then Tom, what's your YouTube channel again?
Tom Tezak. Search Tom Tezak on YouTube or Lifestyle Maui Real Estate. We are converting that to Lifestyle Maui Team because of back to the thing we started with, compliance. So
we must comply.
So you just search Tom Tezak and Maui, and I'll be the first full page on Google. So you all can go anywhere you want.
Excellent. And then,
but be sure to let Don know you're reaching out to me, because I'd love to just send a little thank you gift to Don. So.
Oh, awesome. We like gifts. and vice versa too. If you want to catch up with Tom, you're thinking about, let's say you do live here in Las Vegas, and it's like, okay, hey, I'm thinking about second home, or you know what, life change. Let's get back to the islands, or let's go check out the islands. Love to create that end-to-end experience from selling your property here or helping you transition over to Tom so he can find you that dream home, so you can just continue to enjoy life, because that's what it's about.
Hey, Don, you're just saying something. I just want to, for your clients out there, that if they have real estate portfolios and they're thinking, geez, maybe, it's a great opportunity for you to redeploy your real estate portfolio, maybe take out one or two of those properties that are great cash flows and redeploy them into something that might give them a little bit of lifestyle, whether it's in Maui or in the mountains or wherever it might be. But Don, I'm sure you can help them with that.
Yeah, no, awesome. I mean, that's a great point, Tom. I mean, like you, we look at your real estate, like financial advisors look at your investment portfolios as stocks, bonds, gold, cash, and such. We're looking at your real estate portfolio as investment, your own personal properties, lifestyle components. I mean, they are still they're assets. And so if you're wanting to get a little mix and maybe take a little return and put it more into a mental return.
Exactly.
Let's set up a Zoom call with Tom and myself and talk about starting that journey. So, well, thanks everyone again for tuning in. Tom, thank you. Pleasure as always. Again, we've got a couple other shows this week. Tomorrow we've got our weekly recap on the Vegas market. Thursday, Rudy Romano from our Urban Nest office will be joining in because he's going to give us the 411 on commercial real estate in Vegas. And then Friday, it is going to be a taped episode, but we're basically going to do an April recap to see what happened in the real estate market in Vegas in April. So again, thanks everyone for tuning in to Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. Until next time, till Tom, mahalo.
Mahalo.
Appreciate it.